Lieutenant Mara Keene stepped off the transport shuttle onto the polished metal platform of the Interstellar Marksman Academy, her boots echoing in the cavernous hall. The station hung like a jewel in space, orbiting a distant, vibrant planet called Ceralis Prime. Vast windows revealed the swirling colors of nebulae and distant stars, a view that left many recruits speechless. But Mara kept her gaze forward, her mind focused on the task ahead. She carried her rifle carefully, its worn metal frame polished until it shone faintly. It was an Earth-made long-range tactical rifle, decades old but perfectly maintained. Its design was simple compared to the sleek, alien-crafted weapons most recruits carried. They hummed with power cells and projected holographic targeting systems. Mara's rifle had none of that, yet she trusted it. She always had. As she walked through the academy's main atrium, groups of cadets whispered and glanced at her. Many were taller, with alien features, extra limbs, scaled skin, glowing eyes, but the expressions were human enough. Curiosity, judgment, and amusement. One group of young cadets, armed with shimmering plasma rifles, snickered as she passed. "Is that an Earth relic?" one hissed to another. "Does it even shoot?" the other replied, laughing. Mara ignored them. She had learned long ago that attention from others, especially mockery, could be wasted energy. She only needed focus, discipline, and skill. At the dormitory wing, Mara met her roommate, a young alien named Leora from the planet Zypheron. Leora had pale violet skin and two small horns curling backward from her forehead. She smiled warmly at Mara, noticing the rifle leaning against the wall. "That's an old model," Leora said softly, careful not to mock. "But there's a certain elegance to it." Mara nodded. "It's reliable. That's what matters." They unpacked quickly. Mara had traveled for weeks to reach this academy, leaving Earth behind with nothing but memories and her rifle. She remembered her father, a skilled marksman who had taught her the value of patience and observation. He had always said, "A weapon in a skilled hand is worth more than 1,000 machines." Her thoughts were interrupted by the blaring of the training bell. All cadets were ordered to the central field, a massive area designed for both live and simulated exercises. It spanned several kilometers, filled with moving targets, elevation changes, and environmental challenges mimicking alien worlds. The instructor for their group, Sergeant Varun, waited at the far end of the field. He was a human, older than most cadets by decades, with graying hair and eyes that had seen countless battles. His uniform was immaculate, but his presence carried an unspoken authority that silenced whispers. Varun's gaze swept over the recruits. When it landed on Mara and her old rifle, a faint smirk appeared on his face, almost hidden beneath his serious expression. He did not laugh, did not frown, he simply observed. Mara noticed the glance but didn't flinch. "Cadets," Varun's voice rang out, deep and commanding. "Today we begin the basics of interstellar marksmanship. You will learn the importance of precision, patience, and adaptability. You will also learn that weapons are tools. They are only as powerful as the hands that wield them." Mara felt a thrill of anticipation. This was why she had come here. To prove that skill, not technology, could define a marksman. The first exercise was simple in concept but challenging in execution. Moving targets would appear at varying distances, some visible only briefly, others partially hidden behind obstacles. Cadets were expected to hit as many as possible within a set time. Most recruits immediately activated their advanced weapons. Holosights blinked and scanned, AI targeting systems whirred, and energy rifles glowed as they prepared to fire. Mara, however, unpacked her rifle methodically, checking the sight, adjusting the stock, and ensuring the trigger was smooth. She did not rush. Some cadets glanced at her with amusement. "She's actually going to try to compete with that?" one whispered. Mara ignored them. She took her stance, knees slightly bent, breathing steady. In her mind, she visualized the targets, the distances, the wind currents. Even in this controlled environment, the targets activated. Drones zipped across the field in unpredictable patterns. Some spun, some leapt, and some darted behind cover. Screeches and whirs echoed as plasma rifles discharged with a hiss. Lasers crisscrossed the air, each cadet trying to outdo the others. Mara waited. She had learned from her father that patience was crucial. One mistake could mean a miss. One correct shot could define the outcome. She aimed carefully, measured her breathing, and squeezed the trigger. The rifle discharged with a solid, familiar thump. The shot struck a drone perfectly in its center. Mara adjusted slightly and fired again. Then again. Each shot, landing with unerring precision. At first, her peers didn't notice. Their attention was divided between their own weapons and the chaos of flying drones. But gradually, whispers spread. One by one, cadets realized that Mara's shots were consistently perfect, hitting targets others barely had a chance to aim at. Sergeant Varun observed silently. He did not clap, did not intervene, but when Mara's rifle took down a drone attempting a particularly difficult maneuver, he leaned slightly forward, a faint nod acknowledging her skill. By the end of the exercise, Mara had hit more targets than any other cadet, using nothing but her old rifle and her skill. The advanced rifles had struggled with overheating and AI errors. The irony was not lost on anyone. After the exercise, cadets gathered around, some in disbelief, others in quiet admiration. Mara quietly cleaned her rifle, while a few approached cautiously. How did you do that?" asked a young alien cadet named Kethar. His voice tinged with awe. Mara smiled faintly. "Skill, practice, patience. That's all." Varun approached, resting a hand on her shoulder. "Remember this," he whispered, so only she could hear. "Let them mock. They'll learn soon enough. That weapon, it tells the truth." Mara nodded. She understood completely. This was not about showing off. This was about proving that humanity's ingenuity, patience, and skill could still shine, even in a galaxy brimming with advanced technology. As night fell on the academy, Mara returned to her dormitory. The view from her window showed the distant glow of Cyrillus Prime below, and the stars stretching endlessly into the void. She polished her rifle carefully, each movement deliberate, almost ritualistic. Leora, her roommate, watched quietly. "You're extraordinary," she said softly. "Even with that old rifle." "One?" Mara smiled, a mixture of gratitude and determination. "It's not just the rifle. It's what we do with it that counts. I have a lot to prove. And a lot to learn." She placed the rifle beside her bed and leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, more exercises, and perhaps more mockery, but she knew one thing with certainty. In her hands, that old Earth rifle was more than a weapon. It was a statement, and the galaxy would learn its message soon enough. The next morning, sunlight, or rather, the light from the artificial star generators flooded the training grounds of the Interstellar Marksman Academy. Mara Keen stood at the ready, her old Earth rifle resting against her shoulder. She had spent the night reviewing the drills in her mind, calculating angles, wind adjustments, and distances. Every detail mattered. The cadets gathered in groups, each pairing with an instructor to begin the first official academy test. This test was designed not only to measure marksmanship, but also to assess how well cadets adapted under pressure. Targets would appear at various distances, some partially hidden behind walls or moving obstacles. Some were as far as several kilometers away, testing even the most advanced targeting systems. Mara's peers whispered and snickered as they noticed her rifle. "Look at that," one alien cadet hissed. He had 4 arms and a sleek, golden plasma rifle strapped to his back. "She's actually going to compete with that old thing. Maybe she'll surprise us." A second cadet replied, though her tone was dripping with doubt. Her plasma rifle already glowed with energy, calibrated and ready to fire. Mara ignored them. She had learned that focusing on mockery would waste energy and break concentration. Every shot had to count. She tightened her grip on her rifle and waited. Instructor Varun approached, walking with his usual measured pace. His eyes swept across the cadets, lingering briefly on Mara. He stopped in front of her and said quietly, almost a whisper, "Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Your rifle will speak the truth. You just need to listen." Mara nodded slightly, a small smile forming. She understood completely. Her rifle had been a trusted companion for years. It did not need to be flashy. It only needed to perform. The test began with a series of moving drones released across the training field. They zipped unpredictably, some at high speed, others in erratic patterns. Advanced rifles immediately activated their AI targeting systems. Holosights scanned, sensors adjusted, and energy weapons hummed as cadets took aim. Mara crouched, breathing slowly, feeling the rifle's weight against her shoulder. She observed each drone's movement, calculating its trajectory in her mind. Then, she squeezed the trigger. The rifle discharged with a solid thump. Not a flash of energy or a hum of technology, but a pure mechanical precision honed over decades. The first drone exploded in midair. Center hit. Mara adjusted slightly and fired again. Drone after drone fell with clean, perfect shots. Around her, the other cadets were struggling. Their advanced rifles misfired or overheated. Some drones evaded shots due to AI miscalculations. Murmurs spread across the field. Cadets stopped mid-action, staring at Mara's performance. "What? How is she doing that?" One cadet whispered. "Impossible," another muttered, watching a drone fall from hundreds of meters away, struck precisely at the weak point. Varun observed silently, a faint smirk appearing on his face. He had known this would happen. The cadets' mockery would turn to awe soon enough. As the test continued, the drones became more unpredictable. Some appeared behind obstacles, only partially visible. Others moved across long distances, simulating real combat conditions. Mara adjusted her aim carefully, calculating speed, distance, wind, and even subtle vibrations in the platform. Her rifle, though old, allowed her to make precise adjustments. Every shot landed exactly where it needed to. Her peers, once laughing and confident, now struggled to keep up. The advanced rifles, dependent on automated targeting, often miscalculated. One cadet tried to switch to manual mode, but panic and inexperience made their shots inaccurate. Mara, calm and focused, maintained perfect accuracy. By the end of the exercise, Mara had hit more targets than any cadet, including those using advanced, high-tech weapons. Her performance was flawless, almost eerily so. The other cadets looked at her rifle in disbelief, their confidence shaken. Varun approached Mara after the test. His voice was low, almost a whisper, so only she could hear. "You see? It's not the weapon that matters. It's the skill, the patience, the mind behind the shot. That rifle, it's not old, it's timeless." Mara nodded, feeling a mix of pride and humility. She had proven something important, but she knew this was just the beginning. The academy would test her further. And she would need more than skill. She would need ingenuity, strategy, and the ability to adapt to unexpected challenges. Meanwhile, whispers spread among the cadets. The alien cadets who had mocked her earlier now stared with wide eyes, a mixture of awe and respect. Some approached cautiously, curious to learn her technique. "How do you do that?" asked Kethar, the cadet with 4 arms. "Your shots, they're perfect. Even with that." Mara smiled faintly. "It's about understanding the weapon, understanding the target, and understanding yourself. The rifle is just a tool. The skill is in the mind and hand that uses it." Leora, her roommate, looked on with admiration. "You're going to change how they see humans here," she said softly. Mara glanced at her rifle, feeling its familiar weight. "I hope so," she replied. "Not for pride, for respect." for proving that skill and patience can still win even in a galaxy of advanced technology. The next exercise began shortly after. This one was designed to simulate interstellar combat conditions. Targets would appear at even greater distances, across simulated terrain that included hills, valleys, and artificial weather patterns. Cadets would need to adjust for gravity shifts, wind currents, and even magnetic interference. While others activated complex sensors and relied heavily on AI guidance, Mara focused on her own senses. She measured distances, read subtle environmental changes, and adjusted her rifle manually. She had learned from Earth that no machine could replicate human intuition and observation. As the drones appeared, Mara fired methodically. 1, 2, 3. Each shot hit its target precisely, some from distances that caused gasps from the onlookers. Her rifle did not flash or hum. It did not boast advanced features. Yet it performed with a reliability that seemed almost supernatural. By the end of the session, Mara's performance was unmatched. Cadets who had laughed at her rifle now stared in stunned silence. Even the instructors, experienced in countless fields, acknowledged her skill with quiet nods. Varun pulled Mara aside again. "The others will learn to respect you," he said. "But never let it distract you. Respect is not given. It is earned. And it is earned every time you take a shot." Mara nodded, her resolve strengthening. She knew the road ahead would be filled with challenges far greater than drones and mockery. She would face real missions, with stakes far higher than training exercises. But she also knew this. Humanity's strength lay not in the newest technology, but in the mind, skill, and patience of those who wield it. As night fell and the academy quieted, Mara returned to her dormitory. She cleaned her rifle carefully, each movement deliberate, meditative. Leora watched in silence, understanding that this weapon, old as it was, represented something more than combat. It was human ingenuity and determination, alive in Mara's hands. Mara set the rifle beside her bed and sat by the window, gazing at the glowing expanse of space. Stars stretched endlessly in all directions, planets and nebulae painting a breathtaking canvas. She thought about the training, the drones, and the reactions of her peers. Yes, they had mocked her rifle, but she had proven that skill, patience, and knowledge could triumph over even the most advanced technology, and she would continue to prove it again and again, until the galaxy understood that humans were not to be underestimated. Tomorrow, the Academy would bring new challenges, new exercises, new cadets, and perhaps new doubts. But Mara was ready. With her Earth rifle in hand, she felt invincible not because of the weapon, but because of the mind behind it. And as she drifted to sleep, she dreamed not of mockery, but of precision, focus, and the countless targets she would hit in the days to come, targets that would one day teach the galaxy the true power of human skill. The next day, at the Interstellar Marksman Academy, Mara Keen arrived earlier than usual. The training grounds were quiet under the pale light of the artificial star generators. Most cadets were still arriving, chatting nervously about the day's exercises. Mara's old rifle rested comfortably against her shoulder, polished and gleaming faintly. She could feel its familiar weight and the way it balanced perfectly in her hands. Instructor Sergeant Varun had requested to meet her privately. Mara had no idea why, but she felt a sense of anticipation and curiosity. As she approached his office, she saw him waiting by the observation deck, his arms crossed, and a small, knowing smile on his face. "Good morning, Lieutenant," Varun said, his voice calm but firm. "Do you have a moment?" Mara nodded. "Of course, sir." Varun gestured to the observation deck, overlooking the main training field. "Walk with me," he said. "I want to show you something important." They walked in silence, the hum of the academy machinery filling the air. Mara noticed the other cadets setting up for the day's exercises, most of them glancing at her with curiosity or subtle envy. The memory of yesterday's test still lingered in their minds. Varun stopped near a holographic display console. "Mara," he began, "your performance has been extraordinary. I watched every shot yesterday, every calculation you made, every drone you hit. But it's not just your skill. It's the rifle. Mara tilted her head. Sir? This rifle, Varun continued, placing a hand on the polished metal, is one of the few surviving Earth long-range tactical rifles. Most people see it as outdated, but it is far more advanced than it appears. Mara blinked. She had always known her rifle was special, but she had never fully understood why it was considered legendary. Varun's voice lowered, almost to a whisper. This weapon was designed for sharpshooters who could strike targets from continents away, relying on skill, calculation, and instinct. Not AI systems. It can adjust for wind, gravity, and environmental factors with incredible precision, but only if the user understands its mechanics. Most weapons today depend on computers to do that work. You do it yourself. Mara's heart raced. Her father had always spoken of the rifle's history, but she never realized it had been built for conditions far beyond what she had ever imagined. I just trusted it, she said softly. I never thought of it as extraordinary. Varun's eyes met hers. Extraordinary is exactly what it is, and in your hands, it becomes legendary. That is why I allowed you to continue using it, even when others laughed. The truth is, technology can fail, AI can miscalculate. But a human with knowledge, patience, and instinct, that is unstoppable. Mara felt a sense of pride mixed with humility. Her father's words echoed in her mind. A weapon in a skilled hand is worth more than 1,000 machines. Now, she understood why he had said it. Varun gestured toward the field. Today, we are going to test your rifle under real interstellar conditions. The drones will move faster, the distances will be greater, and there will be environmental obstacles designed to challenge even the most advanced weapons. Mara nodded, gripping her rifle tighter. I'm ready, sir. The exercise began with the drones appearing on the field at unprecedented distances. Some moved across hills and valleys, others darted behind artificial structures, and a few even flew in unpredictable patterns, meant to simulate alien combat conditions. Other cadets activated their high-tech rifles. Holosights scanned rapidly, energy pulses hummed, and targeting systems calculated trajectories automatically. Many cadets fired repeatedly, relying on their technology to hit targets. Yet the drones evaded most shots, and some rifles overheated or misfired. Mara, however, took her time. She observed each drone, calculated its path, and adjusted her rifle manually. One drone appeared nearly 10 kilometers away. Mara measured its speed, considered wind currents in the simulated environment, and fired. The rifle discharged with a sharp, clean thump. The drone exploded in midair. Gasps echoed across the field. Cadets turned, eyes wide with disbelief. No advanced rifle had hit a target that far, especially under such complex conditions. Impossible, muttered one alien cadet, shaking their head. That's human? Yes, Mara said quietly. Though she didn't boast, she simply continued. Varun observed silently, nodding with approval. He had known this moment would come, the moment when the cadets would truly understand what human skill and an Earth rifle could accomplish. The exercise continued. Drones moved faster, some performing evasive maneuvers that challenged even the best marksmen. Mara adjusted her aim carefully, relying on instinct and calculation rather than technology. Each shot found its target. By the end of the session, Mara had hit more targets than all the cadets combined, including those using the most advanced rifles in the galaxy. Cadets who had mocked her rifle just 2 days earlier now stared in awe. Their whispers were filled with respect, curiosity, and a touch of fear. Mara's performance had shattered their assumptions about Earth technology and about humanity itself. After the exercise, Varun called the cadets together. Today, you saw what happens when skill meets mastery. It is not the rifle that made her successful, he said, gesturing toward Mara. It is the mind behind the rifle. Technology is a tool, but the human spirit is the force that makes it work. Mara felt a warmth in her chest. This was what she had hoped to prove, not just her own abilities, but the capabilities of humanity. Later, Mara returned to her dormitory. Leora was waiting, her eyes wide with amazement. "Mara, I can't believe it," she said. "Everyone's talking about you. Even the instructors are impressed. Your rifle, it's more than just old technology. It's incredible." Mara smiled. "It's always been incredible," she replied. "It just needed the right hands. And the right mind." That evening, Mara sat by the observation window, polishing her rifle carefully. She reflected on the events of the day. Mockery had turned to astonishment. Doubt had turned to respect. And her skill had proven that human ingenuity could outperform technology in the right hands. She thought about the cadets who had laughed at her. She didn't feel anger or resentment. Instead, she felt determination. The galaxy underestimated humanity. Just as the cadets had underestimated her rifle. That would not happen again. Not while she was here. Varun appeared at her door, silently observing her polishing. "You've done well today," he said quietly. "But remember this. Mastery is a journey, not a destination. Every shot, every calculation, every observation, it matters. And one day, your skills will be tested in ways no academy exercise can simulate." Mara looked up at him. "I understand, sir. I'm ready." Varun nodded. "Good. Tomorrow, you'll face your first interstellar-level challenge. It will test not just your aim, but your ability to think, adapt, and survive under pressure. Your rifle will be part of it, but your mind, that will be the true weapon." Mara felt a thrill of excitement. This was what she had come for. The academy was more than training, it was preparation for a future where humans could prove themselves among the stars. And she was determined to show that human skill, ingenuity, and determination were unmatched. As night fell, Mara looked at the stars once more. She imagined herself on distant planets, facing challenges that required every ounce of her training. Her rifle, old and humble by appearance, rested beside her, a trusted companion, a symbol of Earth's ingenuity, and a reminder that even in a galaxy of advanced technology, humans could still excel beyond imagination. And in that quiet moment, Mara Keen made a silent promise. She would not only survive the academy, she would thrive, proving that human skill could triumph where technology alone could not. The day of the Interstellar Challenge arrived at the Interstellar Marksman Academy. The artificial sun cast a soft glow over the expansive training fields, and the cadets gathered in nervous anticipation. Today's exercise was unlike any they had faced before. It was designed to simulate real interstellar combat conditions, testing every skill a marksman could possess. Lieutenant Mara Keen arrived early, carrying her old Earth rifle, polished and balanced. Other cadets arrived with weapons that hummed, glowed, and projected holographic targeting systems. Some of the alien cadets whispered among themselves, exchanging doubtful glances at Mara's humble weapon. "Still using that relic?" one asked, smirking. Mara merely smiled faintly and adjusted her rifle strap. She had learned long ago that confidence in one's own skill mattered far more than mockery from others. Her rifle was not just a weapon, it was a companion, a tool that had proven itself in countless exercises, and today, it would prove itself again. Instructor Sergeant Varun approached, his presence calm but commanding. "Cadets, today's challenge will simulate a real threat," he explained. "A fleet of rogue drones is approaching a distant colony. You must disable them before they reach the settlement. The drones will move unpredictably, some invisible to sensors, others protected by advanced countermeasures. Your skills and judgment will determine your success. Technology alone will not suffice." Mara listened carefully, her mind already calculating strategies. She understood that this challenge was more than a test of aim, it was a test of patience, observation, and adaptability. The cadets were led to their positions along the observation and firing platforms, each one overlooking different segments of the field. Mara chose a high vantage point, giving her a broad view of the approaching drones and the simulated terrain. Hills, valleys, artificial structures, and atmospheric distortions would make the task difficult even for the most advanced weapons. The exercise began. The drones appeared in the distance, moving swiftly across the landscape. Some flew low over the valleys, others darted unpredictably among the structures, and a few remained almost invisible, their cloaking devices active. Most cadets immediately activated their advanced rifles. Hollow sights blinked, energy pulses hummed, and AI targeting systems calculated trajectories automatically. Yet, as expected, the technology struggled under the simulated conditions. Many shots missed, some rifles overheated, and others malfunctioned under the environmental stressors. Mara took a deep breath, feeling the familiar weight of her rifle against her shoulder. She observed the drones carefully, calculating their speed, direction, and elevation. She adjusted the rifle manually, taking into account wind currents and gravitational shifts simulated on the field. Her first shot rang out with a solid, precise thump. One drone exploded mid-air, center hit. Mara adjusted slightly and fired again, her shots landing with perfect accuracy. One by one, drones fell before her, some from distances that caused murmurs of astonishment among the onlookers. Cadets who had once mocked her rifle were now silent, their eyes wide with disbelief. Some tried to adjust their strategies, but panic and over-reliance on technology hindered their performance. Mara, calm and focused, continued her methodical approach. Instructor Varun watched silently from a distance. He had anticipated this moment, the moment when Mara's skill would shine brightest. Her performance was not just impressive. It was a statement. Humanity's ingenuity and patience were proving superior, even in a galaxy brimming with advanced technology. As the challenge progressed, the drones increased in speed and complexity. Some performed evasive maneuvers designed to simulate intelligent tactics. Others released decoys, attempting to confuse the cadets' targeting systems. Mara analyzed each movement carefully, distinguishing real targets from distractions. Her rifle, though old, responded flawlessly to her adjustments. One particularly challenging drone appeared behind a ridge, partially obscured and moving unpredictably. Mara held her breath, measured its trajectory, and fired. The shot hit perfectly, neutralizing the threat. Nearby cadets gasped, amazed that such precision could come from what they still considered an ancient weapon. The exercise continued for hours. Mara's concentration never wavered. She anticipated movements, adjusted for environmental changes, and calculated every shot with exacting precision. By the end, she had eliminated more rogue drones than any other cadet, outperforming even those with the most advanced rifles. The results were undeniable. Cadets who had doubted her skill now approached cautiously, seeking advice and techniques. Some whispered among themselves, realizing that human ingenuity and training could surpass even the most sophisticated technology. Varun approached Mara again after the exercise. "Your performance today was exceptional," he said quietly. "You have proven that skill, patience, and observation can overcome any technological advantage. Remember this lesson. It will serve you well in the future." Mara nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride and accomplishment. This exercise was more than a test. It was a confirmation of everything she had believed about skill, discipline, and human ingenuity. Back in the dormitory, Mara cleaned her rifle carefully, each movement deliberate and precise. Leora watched, admiration evident in her eyes. "You've done something incredible," she said softly. "Even the instructors are talking about you. Your rifle, it's more than a weapon. It's a symbol of human skill." Mara smiled faintly. "It's not just the rifle," she replied. "It's the mind behind it. That's what makes the difference." That evening, Mara reflected on the day's events. The mockery, the doubts, and the disbelief of others had transformed into respect and recognition. She realized that her journey at the academy was not just about proving herself. It was about demonstrating the potential of humanity in a galaxy that often underestimated her species. As night fell and the artificial stars twinkled above, Mara looked out over the academy grounds. She imagined the real challenges that awaited humanity beyond the training fields. Missions in distant star systems. Situations where skill and determination would be the deciding factors between success and failure. Her rifle, old and seemingly humble, was a testament to what humans could achieve when knowledge, patience, and instinct were combined. Mara made a silent promise to herself. She would continue to hone her skills, face every challenge with courage and precision, and prove that human ingenuity could surpass any technology. The next day, new exercises would begin, each more challenging than the last. Mara knew that her journey was far from over, but she also knew that with her rifle in hand and her mind sharp, she was ready for anything the academy or the galaxy could throw at her. And as she drifted to sleep that night, Mara felt a quiet confidence. The mockery of others no longer mattered. What mattered was mastery, focus, and the unwavering belief that humans, with their ingenuity and skill, could thrive and excel, no matter the challenge, no matter the opponent, no matter the technology. Mara Keene was no longer just a cadet. She was becoming a legend in the making. The sun, or, rather, the artificial star generators of the Interstellar Marksman Academy, shone brightly over the training grounds. Today was the final exercise of the Academy's elite program. It was designed to push cadets to their limits, testing not only marksmanship but also strategy, adaptability, and leadership under pressure. Lieutenant Mara Keene arrived early, carrying her old Earth rifle, polished and balanced as always. Her presence drew glances from cadets and instructors alike. Some still whispered in quiet awe about her previous performances, while others simply shook their heads in disbelief at the skill of a human wielding an ancient weapon. "Ready for the final test?" Leora asked softly, her violet eyes wide with concern and admiration. Mara nodded. "Always. This is what I've trained for. This is what humans do best. We adapt, we endure, and we excel." Sergeant Varun stood at the center of the field, his grizzled face calm but serious. "Cadets," he announced, "today you face a simulation designed to mimic real interstellar combat. Rogue drones will approach a distant colony. Your mission is to eliminate the threat before it reaches the settlement. Advanced technology will help, but it will not save you if you lack skill, observation, and strategy. Success will depend on the mind behind the weapon, not the weapon itself." Mara's heart quickened with anticipation. This was the moment she had been preparing for since the first day at the academy. Every exercise, every calculation, every patient shot had led her here. The cadets took their positions across the field. Mara chose a high vantage point, with a clear line of sight across the simulated terrain. Hills, valleys, and structures created complex obstacles, while environmental challenges, wind shifts, magnetic interference, and variable gravity tested every weapon and every cadet. The drones appeared. They moved with intelligence, splitting into groups, performing evasive maneuvers, and using decoys to confuse the cadets. Advanced rifles immediately activated their sensors, holosights blinking as AI systems attempted to calculate trajectories. Many cadets fired rapidly, relying on technology to do the thinking for them. Some rifles overheated, others misfired. Mara took a deep breath. She observed the drones carefully, calculating their speed, altitude, and path. She considered the wind, gravity shifts, and atmospheric distortions. Then, with deliberate calm, she fired. Her first shot hit a drone midair, center strike. She adjusted slightly and fired again, neutralizing another. One by one, her shots found their targets. Around her, cadets who had mocked her in the past watched silently, unable to comprehend how an ancient rifle could outperform their advanced weapons. Even instructors observed with quiet astonishment. Mara's skill, precision, and patience were unmatched. A drone flew close to the Academy's observation tower, attempting to distract the cadets. Mara calculated the angle, considered the wind, and fired. The drone exploded with a clean hit, far before any other cadet could react. Whispers of awe spread across the field. "Unbelievable," muttered Kethar, the four-armed cadet who had once doubted her. "She's perfect." Mara ignored the murmurs, focusing entirely on her task. Each shot required calculation, observation, and precision. Unlike others who relied on automated targeting, she trusted her instincts, honed through years of training and discipline. As the simulation intensified, the drones performed complex maneuvers, attempting to overwhelm the cadets. Mara analyzed each movement carefully, distinguishing decoys from real targets. One drone approached from behind a ridge, partially hidden from view. Mara adjusted her aim, calculated the trajectory manually, and fired. The drone was neutralized perfectly. Instructor Varun observed from a distance, silently nodding. Mara's performance demonstrated the very essence of human capability. Skill, ingenuity, and adaptability surpassing technology alone. Hours passed. The drone's numbers increased, and environmental conditions became more challenging. Despite this, Mara remained calm and methodical. Her rifle, though centuries old, responded flawlessly to every adjustment she made. By the end of the exercise, Mara had eliminated more rogue drones than any other cadet, combined, including those with the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. When the exercise concluded, cadets gathered, exhausted and awestruck. Many approached Mara cautiously, their expressions filled with respect and curiosity. "How do you do it?" asked one cadet quietly. "Your shots? They're perfect, even at impossible distances." Mara smiled faintly. "It's not the rifle, it's the mind behind it. Skill, patience, observation. That's what matters. Technology can fail, human skill does not." Varun stepped forward, his voice carrying across the field. "Cadets, what you have witnessed today is a lesson in mastery. Mara Keen has shown that human ingenuity, focus, and skill can surpass even the most advanced technology. Remember this, it is not the weapon that defines the warrior, but the mind and heart of the one who wields it." Mara felt a swell of pride, but she remained humble. This was not about boasting, it was about proving the strength of humanity. The cadets' reactions, the respect she had earned, and the acknowledgement of her instructors validated years of training, patience, and perseverance. Later, back in her dormitory, Leora sat beside Mara, her eyes wide with admiration. "Everyone's talking about you," she said softly. "Even the instructors are impressed. Your rifle, it's more than just a weapon. It's a symbol of human skill and determination." Mara carefully cleaned her rifle, her hands moving deliberately over the polished metal. "It's a symbol," she said quietly, "but not just of skill. It's a symbol of what humans can achieve. Even in a galaxy filled with advanced technology, patience, intelligence, and determination will always matter." That night, Mara reflected on her journey. She remembered the first day, when cadets laughed at her rifle. She recalled the doubts, the whispers, and the skepticism. Now, those same cadets looked at her with respect, some even seeking guidance and advice. Humanity had proven itself once again not through flashy technology, but through mastery, patience, and ingenuity. Sergeant Varun visited Mara one last time before the night ended. "You have done more than pass the academy," he said quietly. "You have set a standard, a human standard, one that others will measure themselves against for years to come. Remember this lesson. True mastery comes from skill, not the latest technology. Never forget it, and you will excel in anything you face." Mara nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose. "I understand, sir. I will continue to train, to improve, and to prove that humans can achieve anything with skill and determination." Varun smiled faintly. "Good. The galaxy is watching, Mara. And now, they are learning to respect humanity. That is your legacy, if you choose to embrace it." The next morning, Mara was promoted to elite marksman instructor, tasked with teaching cadets the importance of skill, patience, and observation over reliance on technology. Her rifle, once mocked, became a symbol of human ingenuity and determination. Cadets from across the academy sought to learn from her, eager to understand the methods and discipline that allowed her to achieve the impossible. Mara accepted the responsibility with humility. She knew that her journey was far from over. The academy was just the beginning. Missions awaited beyond the stars. Missions where human skill and ingenuity would face real challenges. Where the lessons she had learned would save lives and shape the future of humanity. Standing on the observation deck, Mara gazed at the stars, stretching endlessly across the galaxy. Each light represented a world, a challenge, and an opportunity, and she knew that humanity, with its determination, intelligence, and skill, was ready to meet those challenges head-on. Her rifle rested by her side, polished and gleaming. It was more than a weapon, it was a testament to human resilience, ingenuity, and the belief that even the simplest tools, when used with mastery and focus, could achieve greatness. As Mara looked out across the academy grounds, cadets practicing and preparing for future challenges, she realized something profound. Humanity would thrive not because of technology alone, but because of the minds, hearts, and determination of those who dared to master it. And in that moment, Mara Keen, a young human from Earth with an old rifle, became a symbol of hope, skill, and excellence. A reminder to the galaxy that human ingenuity was a force to be reckoned with. The story of Mara and her Earth rifle would be told for generations at the Interstellar Marksman Academy. Cadets would remember how the human who had been mocked rose above doubt and ridicule to become a legend, how she taught that true power lies not in the weapon, but in the one who wields it with skill, patience, and determination. And humanity, once again, had proven that in the vast galaxy, it was unstoppable when it relied on its ingenuity and spirit. Mara turned to her cadets, her eyes calm but resolute. "Remember this," she said, her voice steady. "Skill is your greatest weapon. Focus is your greatest tool. And patience. Patience can make the impossible possible." The cadets nodded, inspired and eager to follow her example. Mara Keen smiled faintly, resting a hand on her rifle. She had fulfilled her promise, not just to herself, but to humanity. And as the stars stretched endlessly above, she knew this was only the beginning of humanity's legacy among the stars.